good evening, and welcome to tonight's second episode of Ask the Knights. My name is Annora, and I will be your host for this evening. We have Little John behind the scenes tonight alongside our techie Effin guy. I kid you not, his actual name. Tonight we have Sir Lorccan of Antir and Sir Gellis of Glenavon. There's our guys. Thank you so much for coming in tonight. Gellis, only you would have that kind of a banner right beneath your name, man. I swear to God. Have only known this guy for less than a day, and I'm like, man, I got to hang out a lot more.
Oh yeah,
for Lorccan is to be sitting over
A lot
there
of
going,
fun.
I don't know them. I really don't know them right now.
Oh no, I've known Gellis way too long to claim anything else.
Oh, well, that's good to know. That's definitely good to know. So
I blame him for a lot of things I've gotten in trouble for.
That's a
At one point we had very similar helmets, and people on the field, got confused.
Okay, that would actually be fun. Because then you could try and impersonate each other, which would have possibly been funnier.
Have you looked at him? That's like it's the Laurel and Hardy of the armor, okay?
Dude, I'm getting rounder.
Oh, that just means you have more mass and you don't have to put so much hip into a flat snap or something, right?
Right.
It's just like brute strength.
Let's go with that.
All right.
I just shift my momentum and destroy.
Exactly.
Gellis,
Gellis, if you don't mind introducing yourself and telling us where you're from, for those of us who do not have the pleasure of knowing you yet.
Hey everybody, Gellir, Gunnarsson, Yelper, that guy, or hey you, as it says. I literally introduce myself like that pretty much to all new people because people see chains and medallions and they go, oh my God, do I need to be afraid? And I'm going, not of me. Hail from the great kingdom of Glenavon. Been here playing the game for 22 years, 3 years. Got to look at my intergalactic babelfish in the back over there. So yeah, I've had opportunities to move elsewhere. Said to hell with that. I've been to a lot of other kingdoms and enjoyed every minute of it.
Jeez.
So hi, I go by Lorccan. Full Gaelic monstrosity name Lorccan Crohor. Don't worry about
okay, that's no. I want the full.
Well, it's just if you see it spelled, it's trouble. If you don't see it spelled, it doesn't sound that bad. But anyway, started in the SCA in 2002 in the Kingdom of Caid. Was there until 2009. Moved to the Kingdom of Glenavon, where I met Gellis and a whole bunch of other family. In 2011, 2011, not 2009. I'm completely wrong about me. But yeah, moved there because I had actual blood family there, and I was born in New Orleans, so it was easy. Was knighted there, got married there, and my lady and I moved to Antir in April of last year. So that's how I'm there now.
Very sad we lost you.
Yeah, getting to come home for this past weekend for a wedding was fantastic.
So you still have family back in Glenavon?
Yes,
so you have
blood
a great reason
and
to go
SCA.
visit.
Yeah,
which very much go hand in hand. I swear.
Yeah.
That was a great look, Gellis. We could see that.
I'm sorry, I'm not muted.
Your face says everything. I completely
need a mute and then a face mute button.
Exactly.
I was actually many years ago. I had my older brother ask me. He's like, "These people that you dress up in funny clothes with, you'll bend over backwards, but you don't show up for half our stuff." And I looked at him, like, they're not judgmental.
Oh my God! Right?
Bam.
Okay. Anywho.
Gellis face count. Oh, that's an interesting count.
Oh, we're gonna start this. All right. So we drink. I'm not gonna drink. Okay. Lorccan, if you don't mind, how did you get started in the SEA? We know you've moved around a lot, but how did you get started?
So my first wife and I had just gotten married, and we were a little further from our old friends who were now mostly single and unmarried. So there's a little gap there. We'd been to the Renaissance Fair a couple of times. Thought that was fun. I'd done Old West living history type reenactment and had some fun with that. So we were looking for something to do. And my ex found the SCA online. I was like, I think I've heard of that. But she found that there was a fighter practice that was like 20 minutes away from us. It was like, hey, these guys dress up in armor and fight with wooden swords. You want to come? And I was like, yes. She was the first one in armor. She found the practice. She was the lady. Yeah, but we both started fighting and just kind of dove in head first and never looked back. She's a Laurel in Kaid these days. Yeah,
That's really neat. All right, Gellis, I'm hoping yours is. We don't do PG-13 or PG anything like that.
Yeah, I don't think you're gonna have a chance with me anyway. First off, I just want to say I want to see pictures, video, or whatever of Lorccan the kid.
Oh man,
the idea behind.
Dude, I want to see the cowboy, but that's because I love cowboys.
That's what I'm
are
talking
cool.
about. Lorccan out there, yippee ki yay, mofo.
There are only a few because actually an SCA friend had a photo website that she ran and hosted that we uploaded and like scanned and uploaded like all of our photos to, and then she passed from the H1N1 flu. She was 28, healthy as a horse, but that was one that worked on your immune system. So like the healthier you were, the worse it was. So she passed suddenly and she didn't have a digital will. So like one day, all of our photos just went poof because the hosting company closed and no one had the access to the account. So to get photos of older photos of me, I have to go back to my mom and be like, hey, do you have any actual film photos left?
Whoa. See, the one downside of technology is that there's always something that could go wrong devastatingly.
Yep. Oh yeah, and the thing is there was redundant storage, so they weren't going to get wiped out by accident, but ownership did not think of that.
Exactly.
So back to the question, how did I get into the SCA? Kicking and screaming. I met my lovely lady. That is a whole non-PG-13 or below story unto itself. But she and I, we got together. We were, getting to know each other. And next thing you know, a couple of weeks go by and she's like, you need to join the SCA. And I'm going, what the hell is that? And, I'm, 25-year-old Navy, my life revolved around being late and drinking beer. And bad beer at that, by the way. At which point she goes, you need to join the SCA because you're an old D&D geek, like most of us are. You need to do this, and you're wrong about everything you think about armor. And I went, what do you mean? She's like, everything you think about armor is wrong. All of the myths that you still believe are wrong. I'm going, no, you can't make me. So her sales pitch was suit up in armor and get the crap beat out of you. My wife is not good at sales.
You still did it though, right?
She brought me to Gulf Wars. And it was the last Saturday, which is a whole different story altogether. Long story. You guys don't have time for, or my introduction, because we almost didn't make it through the gate. But we got over there, met my first peer. He's one of my superheroes. Shout out to John the Bear Killer. Woo! But what wound up happening, though, was we walked in, my 3-year-old, in tow. I'm dressed as a monk because that's the closest thing to medieval I've got. We walked in, and all I do is, the first thing I'm greeted with is a bunch of idiots running up this ramp and diving off into the fort. And I'm going, whoa. Are they like diving off into fun balls or something? And she's like, no, they're jumping and landing, and then they're hitting each other on the other side. And I'm going, you could do that? And she's like, well, you can't do that because you have a bad knee. And I went, I can do that. You can't do that. I can do that. You can't do that. A couple of weeks later, went to my first practice. Hooked ever since. Got to meet a very great gentleman, Scott Gelpy, and that's how I met him that night, with Scott Gelpy. Many of the known world would know him as Sir William Fitzhugh Cambria, in other words known as Camric. He was Prince of Glenaban, and he threw me in sweaty armor that another guy had just come off the field in. And it was like, yeah, you want to suit up? You got a cup? Cool. At which point
There you go.
I'm going, well, at least the cup is clean. And it
It
literally
was yours
was
or was it his?
my cup.
Okay, thank you for the clarification.
And it was literally, I drove away. I looked at my wife and I was like, that was awesome. And she's like, yeah, that was a night. And I was like, you can get knighted in this? Yes. I'm going to be a knight one day. And then she told me that you've got to go to the business meetings. Oh, the lies began. I said knight, she heard pelican, and that's the way it went.
I was going to say, wait a minute. Now, wait a minute. Yeah, I think your meetings are a little bit more lengthier when you're a pelican, though.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, it was interesting. So, there you go.
That's like interesting. So wait, I think at one point you mentioned that your knight was one of those gentlemen, right?
Do what?
Well, the next question is, who is your knight and how did you meet or get squared to them? I thought one of them was your knight.
Hero and eventual peer.
Hero
not knight.
versus knight. Yes. No.
Well, okay, so that's what it was. It was your hero that you met versus your knight.
Yeah,
somebody
my knight
different.
was further down the road. I've actually been squire twice.
Oh, fair enough. Okay.
I was squire to Sir Merwood of Effington. Love the dude to death, but politically, because I got squired pretty much within my first year and a half.
Okay.
So it was stick jock, drink, stick jock, drink. You know?
Okay.
And with him, it worked great that way. But then down the road, I realized that politically and socially within the game, I was limiting myself. There were some issues, and so we parted ways. And my knight, Sir Tar Radu, first came to Glenalbin, shut up, got over there, and I'll never forget it. Him and his lovely lady walked up to me. At that point, Countess Brynjan, Order of the Pelican, walked up. She was also a fighter since she was 16. And I'm not going to say how old she was when she first saw me. But she and I had a really strong meeting one day. And he went, she wants you as her squire one day. So we're going to make sure you're involved in our household. So come, be one of us. And I got assimilated, kind of like, have you seen the movie The Thing? Yeah.
Better way of putting it than saying, you got essentially marked as theirs.
Oh, they totally...
I like assimilated. That's so much better. So much better.
We've got squire names, Sukasik squire names, and household. It's terrifying.
I licked it. Now it's mine. Like John said, that's very sorry. That's in our private chat that you guys cannot see. Gellis movie reference. Oh boy.
I do that too.
Oh, I'm gonna fail at this game. All right, Lorccan.
Okay, I guess I'm up. So my knight was Sir Elegrim Saxwolf. He's originally from Montier, was squired to Duke Sven Gunnarsson from up here in Montier, who was just king for his 6th time. Elegrim was knighted in Montier, went through a divorce, moved down to Caid, and took some time off because frankly he jacked his back up. So he just took some time off in his new kingdom, wasn't really even worried about playing. In the meantime, I came along, started fighting, and about a year in, I was going to the then hot practice in the Los Angeles area that we had to drive a long way to in the Barony of Altavia. And one night this dude shows up with a heater, and his armor and fighting style all looked kind of weird to me. Like, okay, who's this guy? And so I fight him, and he tools me, and it, like, darn it, because I was getting, and I was this thing that happens where like you plateau for a while, and then you go up, and then you plateau, and then you go up, and like your fighting progresses. It doesn't progress as just a nice even line. And I just made a little bit of a bump up. I was doing better. And like, all right, I'm feeling myself. And this guy I've never heard of before just beats the snot out of me. So the next week, he's wearing a white belt. Like, oh, okay. I feel this is a little more proportional. Okay. And we started talking, and he never came back to the SCA full force, like as a going to all the events. This was at a point where I was going to 40 events a year or more. Because Kaid being a day event kingdom, that was easy to do. But he took fighting and his training really seriously, and we worked really well together. And so finally, he said, "Hey, I'd be interested in talking to you about being man-at-arms if you're into that." And like, I can't teach you arts or service or any of that stuff. You'll be fine. I can make you a better fighter. And that was what I was looking for at that time, because my wife and I were friends with a number of peers. We were fortunate that neither of us had peer fear. We didn't have trouble with that. And we were in a very populous part of the kingdom where there were lots of resources available. But Elgrim and I had a meeting of the minds when it came to each other with sticks. And so I was his man-at-arms for like a year and a day, and then became his squire. And I was actually I asked to be released as his squire a few years after I'd moved to Glenavon, because he had gotten married and his wife had twins that were beautiful girls, but they had some complications, and it just really took his attention away from the SCA. And no one could question that that's a better priority. Like, you take care of your family, you take care of your kids, all good. And in the meantime, I'd moved, 2,000 miles away to another kingdom, and we're still friends. But I at one point was like, I was actually visiting Southern California for work, and I got together and was like, "Hey, man, I think I should give this belt back because I love you and you're my guy, but at the same time, like, I can't do anything for you as a squire. I can't, like, we weren't really doing the thing." And the other thing is, I found that in my new kingdom, because my knight was nowhere to be seen or heard from, because he had another life and he's far away, there were people who didn't talk to me about issues because I had a red belt on. They wanted to talk to my knight about issues.
And he was out of kingdom.
Yeah. So understanding, I was like, I don't think this is actually good for me. I wasn't really worried about getting knighted. I just I didn't want to have issues on the field where I wasn't being the best I could be and not know about it.
Sure.
So I just see Oz. Hey, Oz.
Uh-huh.
He's saying, "I got to Buffett Lorccan. I wasn't even king there. We had a cooperative inter-kingdom knighting for me." But anyway, so yeah, I still keep in touch with Elgrim. He's now in the middle. But I was released, and it was I want to say it was about a year and a half, 2 years later that I was offered. It might have actually even been a little bit less than that. So in a way, not having the red belt opened up some communication that I think was helpful. Kind of funny. The other question was, are you an approach or be approached kind of knight? I'm an either. I'll tell you one thing I know about myself. I cannot supply motivation. I've dealt with depression and other stuff. Like, I can keep myself motivated most of the time. But if somebody needs a cheerleader, I'm just not a good guy for that. I'm good for some instruction and teaching and stuff like that. And I will encourage people. But if somebody needs a drill instructor, I'm not the knight for them.
So you're not constantly like pushing. Get out there. You need to get to this practice. You need to get out there and fight. You need to get out there. You're more of just did you do good today? Did you enjoy your fights? Great. Good for you, man.
Well, and I'm always like, and what did you learn? What did you see? Is there something you want to work on? I'm very down for that, but I'm not the one who's going to push, keep going. And I know some people need that. So. Yeah.
So in that case, do you prefer like the squire to maybe come to you being like, "Hey, I've seen you work with other people. It looks like you would be somebody I could work with really well." What would you prefer?
I'm really good either way. I just want, put it this way, the two squires I have were both guys that I made friends with and talked about fighting and stuff. And those friendships developed, and I felt like I had something to contribute to help them on their path, and they felt likewise, and so it developed. And I think that technically I did ask both of them,
Okay.
but by the time I asked, neither one was surprised. Like, because we were
You'd
developing
build a
that
rapport with them
relationship.
for a while.
Yeah, and if and I'd asked one other young fighter to consider the idea, and she ended up going with a different knight. No hard feelings, no problem, because that was about finding the right match.
Exactly. Sure. Okay. That makes sense. Gellis, what about you? You are muted.
Sorry, they were doing dishes. And
I was watching them like, wait for it. Wait. Yes.
Yeah, you coming. No, a lot of my, basically very similar to Lorc. I build relationships first. So
Lorccan.
with that, Lorccan, yeah. So
Yeah,
I
you
get over
Lorc'd me.
Lorccan. I'm sorry. There's a Lorccan. There's a Lorccan.
There's a
Is that
Duke
what you
Loric
read?
in. There's a Duke Loric in Glenavon, so Loric and Lorcan got mixed up a number of times.
Yes, but like
Lorccan.
Lorccan, I am very much a family first. But with that, it also transcribes over to my SCA life. I don't ask my guys to do anything I'm not willing to do. I'm not going to sit there and say, go out there and do Pell work if my ass isn't out there swinging the damn stick as well.
Good on you. Good on you.
My Tar-Radu was very, very big on all of his squires should be fluent with all weapon styles, except one. Big John had the glaive reprieve. He just could not figure it out. It was like a baton and a firing circus. I don't know. It was terrible. It's shameful to watch. But the rest of us, we had to learn multiple weapon styles. So with that, I pushed that on my guys as well. I'm like, yes, you should definitely focus on a style. That should be your primary train. But don't neglect the others, because you're going to go to a tournament one day and pick up a weapon, and next thing you know, you're cleaning house, because some of those guys, including squires that have been fighting for 10, 15 years, have never picked up a style. That's all, because all they've done is the same thing. So with that, I like versatility. I like family, and that also family does cross over into the mundane life. We don't just my wife and I are very big on, we don't just take the member, we take the whole family into the house. So with that, I become uncles to so many people. It's ridiculous. I'm Uncle Gellis to you have no idea. But the biggest thing, and when it comes down to it, the speech per se, is understand that yes, life does get in the way, but we have a shelf life.
Oh,
so if you want to be a knight one day, your ass better be out there swinging a stick. Even if you can only make 6 events a year, make those 6 count. That make sense?
So like trying to wrap my head around it. So it's essentially you're telling them, because of we can't fight forever. You honestly can't. I mean, physically we cannot. Yep. So I am going to sneeze. I am apologizing. I am focusing so hard on not sneezing right now.
Pink elephants didn't work.
And it's gone. It's gone.
Yay!
God. Holy shit. I'm so sorry. So essentially, you just tell them, get out there. If you can get out there, fight, great. If you can't get out there, don't beat yourself up necessarily. Just do your best next time.
Your brain is the hardest thing to overcome.
Oh,
becoming when you are a fighter and a squire and you want to become a knight, and that's your drive, the biggest obstacle you will ever face is not the circle, it is your own brain.
I appreciate you saying that, because oh my God. So wait, I'm seeing a lot of Kellen, and I know Effin is yours, is your squire.
Kellen's my other one.
Kellen is your other one. Okay, so you have
you got a whole house on here now. It's
got it. Okay. And so you have 2. Lorcan, you have how many?
2.
2.
Okay. They're both in Glenavon.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so
awesome.
we're long distancing right now, but we're still staying in touch.
Technology
Like when I was
nowadays.
and like when I was in Louisiana this weekend, I got together with both of them. We didn't get to swing a stick, but we had pizza.
Oh, see, as long as you get to have time with them. Here's a great question since we've been talking about unbelts and your squires are here. What do you think was your biggest hurdle as an unbelt? Gellis, I believe you were our last one to answer questions, so it's going to be you now.
This.
Yes, that is very true.
The hardest lecture I've found as I was coming up was take it seriously, dumbass. Take it seriously, dumbass. And I'm like, I am taking it serious. It's like you're going out to every tournament thinking it's a fighter practice. And what wound up happening was I literally could not get, they would all tell me my shot mechanics were there. My defense was there. I was able to do what was needed. Lorccan was literally one of the first ones who was telling me these things the day he got knighted. By the way, I don't know if you ever knew that, Lorccan, but you gave me my first link of a Knight's Chain. Still got it.
Awesome.
Ooh.
I remember giving it to you. It was one of these.
Yep. And with that, what wound up happening was I got over there, and it literally took a crisis in the family. We'll just leave it there. But we got through it. But during that crisis phase, my loving wife said, you need to go to at least an event a month. And I went, okay, you sure? Yep, you go. And during that period of time, because the SCA is a giant family, everybody wants to know how things are going.
And they don't realize that there's been a number of people asking you that same question during the day. And after a while, oh God, yeah.
So the only time I ever was able to get that moment of take all my frustration, take all my anger, take everything I've got, every emotion I have, and channel it into something, because my life was chaos, was on the fighting field. So I literally basically beat everybody to death as if it was their fault.
I like that, actually.
It was a great outlet. My guys were there. My family was there to make sure of it. And it turned me into a better fighter, because now I don't need, it's like at first you need the on off switch, and the button is an actual button you're clicking.
Right.
At a certain point, the technology of your brain just gets to the point where it just auto fixes. And so right before the tournament, I'll be like, hey, what's up? I'm good. I'm goofy as hell. Look at me. I'm putting something on my head, But as soon as I walk on the field, I'm like, and now I'm going to hit you.
So you were able to finally manage that switch too.
And it was a visible change.
Really?
Everybody's different.
But Lorccan, you're saying that you could actually see him go from being bubbly and fun to all of a sudden stepping over a line and just that's somebody you don't want to get hit with.
It was more just that Gellis remained a fun fight. That's the key. But he was a focused fun fight instead of an unfocused fun fight.
Oh,
does that make sense? Because that's the thing is like before he had all the pieces, because I remember I was there for it. We'd been fighting for years, and it was like he was a fun fight. He was a fun guy, fun all that stuff. But when you get on the field and you need to narrow it down to like your consort, your opponent, and maybe the marshals, and that's all there's room for in the fight, in my way of thinking, and you gotta mostly filter out like, hey, there's an audience here that would laugh if I did this. And the thing is, there's nothing wrong with performing for the audience, but performing for the audience takes away from your killing the other guy.
Okay.
And also, I'll throw one more thing on that. Somebody actually told me it's disrespecting your opponent.
There it is, a school of thought.
Somebody is taking it very seriously and trying to do something, and you're cutting up and being silly and being everything that really, it's basically like a mockery. And if you win, at that point, it kind of takes something away. And first rule up here, don't be a dick.
Sure.
You know, you don't want to steal anybody's thunder. Don't take somebody's shine.
That's fair.
Yep. And you know, I try to remember. I always want to give my opponent the best fight I can.
Make them be a pretty fight as well, I assume.
Yeah. So I'm sorry. What was the question? Oh yeah, biggest hurdle as an unbelt.
Yes.
We got sidetracky. I think I had 2. Luckily, the tournament versus practice mindset wasn't too big of a hurdle for me. I have tested well for a long time. I have and I don't know how exactly, but I learned that somewhere along the way before I really got into the SCA. So I'm very grateful for that. I think I learned that from doing karate and stuff. I don't know. But for me, the first major hurdle that I faced was I jacked up my right wrist. You can't really see the scar in the camera. You can see a little bit of the surgical scar there, and there's more here. This is reversing the view of my hands here, I think. No, that's right. Okay. I'm right-handed. I had legged my opponent in a tourney when I'd been fighting for like 2.5 years. I legged my opponent. I stepped in, and I threw down to whack him on the head. And he brought his shield up in such a way that I stood there. It didn't break anything. Unlocked. Sorry. Well, I had bad half gauntlets. And this is one reason why I became really kind of militant about good half gauntlets. Another story for another time. But anyway, so it didn't break anything, but it tore something, and it was misdiagnosed. So like I went to the doctor and said, oh, it's this. You need to lay off. It's going to take time to heal. So I just went out and went, well, can't stop fighting. So I put on a gauntlet and I went out and fought single sword left-handed. And I did that for about a year. And
totally works.
Still wasn't and it still wasn't better. So I went back to that doctor and he's like, oh, well, we could do surgery, but it's not got great odds of success. So I got another opinion. The other doctor was like, he said, what? Oh, hell no, that's not right. This is obviously this other thing. And so eventually I had surgery for it. I went through physical therapy. I fought left-handed single sword for about 2.5 years. So I spent about as much time fighting left-handed single sword as I had fighting at all before that.
So it was kind of good, kind of bad. The fact that they misdiagnosed it always cracks me up.
It's a bummer, but yeah, so I had to after fighting for about 5 years, I finally got to do right-handed sword and shield again, and I had to relearn it.
Oh, God.
So, and the thing is, I was determined, some people suggested, go lefty, it's an advantage. And I was like, no, I want my right hand back. I want to do the thing. And the truth is, I've never had as fast a flat snap since then as I did before. My right hand flat snap was one of the things I drilled since I first started, and it was very quick. It wasn't actually very effective, but it's very quick.
Yeah.
But so and at this point, there's really no meaningful limitation from the injury. Everything's fine, but I had to kind of reboot and start over. And that was the other challenge that I had really was moving to a new kingdom and both letting go and really being, a Glenavon citizen, letting go of, well, I left Kaid because I had to. There was money involved, and it was and really being yeah, this is Glenavon. This is also my family. I love these people. I want to do this, and really kind of letting go and doing that, and then getting to understand the culture of the kingdom, because I grew up in New Orleans. I thought I was Southern. I was, but I wasn't Southern SCA. I learned the SCA in Southern California, and I didn't recognize how the modern culture and the SCA culture could both align and differ. And so it took me a little while, and it was it's part of why I gave my belt back to my knights, because I realized eventually with some help, it's oh, this is actually getting in the way in a way that I just had never understood. And I needed to work on that. And part of how I worked on it was by removing the red belt and putting on a brown belt. And sending a message thereby that like, hey, I'm the only one to talk to. I'm the only one here.
Sure.
And that was a kind of a layered challenge that it eventually worked out. And cool, but like that was tricky.
Interesting. Okay. Well, while we still have you up, outside of prowess, what is the virtue that you would
Good
look for
question.
most in a candidate? I know all the unbelts are like, I
well-
need to know.
Well,
Good question.
and this is what makes it kind of interesting, because I'd say there's plenty outside of prowess that we look for. Prowess is what gets you into the conversation, because if you
Well,
can't hit people good with a stick, then you're not a knight.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Now,
let's
that's
go
not to
off
say-
of what you
Yeah.
think, not the whole circle.
yeah. Oh
We
yeah,
want
I'm just
you.
saying.
Okay.
Something that I agree with is that prowess is the necessary precondition, but there's a lot more that I ideally want to see from a candidate.
Mhm.
But the main thing is kind of a two-parter. It's honor and fun, on and off the field. Ideally, I want that candidate to be somebody who enjoys the thing, who can share that, and who can make it better for other people. Because if somebody is just an awesome stick jock, cool,
Sure.
but that's not to me what a knight is. To me, a knight is supposed to be a
Mhm.
little more than that. Well, actually, a lot more than that. But but to me, that's a really important part, is making it a better, making the experience field and ideally off the field as well. But we
Mhm.
focus more on the field because it's where we hit people. But that's really something important to me. So I want to see that this is somebody who's making it fun for others, who knows when sometimes to take off the focus on winning and to play and to help the new
Mhm.
guy and to bring him up, and to welcome them in, and not
Mhm.
just club them like a baby seal. It's like, no, that's not really knightly.
Right. No, beautifully put. Honestly, very well put.
Thank you.
All right, Gellis.
An open ice chest.
Legit. Wait.
No, seriously.
I
Laura,
could reach through and just flick.
welcome to most of the ladies I know in Glen Albin. No.
So many face palms
Lorccan said
constantly.
it great.
Oop. Gellis for.
Did we... Okay.
We're back in
Aw.
There he
person.
is. Wow.
Hey, you're back.
I'm like, this is new. We never had this happen before.
So no, the one thing that I will actually add to with Lorccan is, honestly, your presence off the field is more important to me than your presence on the field. Yes, I'm going to look at you, and like Lorccan said, if you're going to get to the circle basically based upon your fighting. You're going to you at a certain level. That's when you get there. But Cam, shut up! Don't me. Yeah, I know you. I know you're on, but I'm going to tell a story about you, you bastard. Brand new SCA function. My first actual spend the night. Actually, I don't think this is the night. We day tripped it. Christmas Revel, my first Revel ever. Cam, like I said earlier, one of my first trainers. Butt wrap from hell, the poodle scoot, curse you forever. But what wound up happening was we had at Christmas Revel, we used to have the Dream Child event, where the what was it called? Make-A-Wish Foundation.
Okay.
And what wound up happening was literally it was the Dream Child, the Make-A-Wish Foundation, and there was a kid who wanted to be a king for a day.
Oh my God, that is the coolest
And
thing
he
ever.
showed up, and there was a throne set up for him, and the whole shebang. And I'm tearing up here. Shut up, you bastard! You're gonna give me hell for this for years. But I turned around, and I'm on the fighting field, and this is my first real tournament day, and this, that, and the other. And I turn around, and there's Cam on his knee, giving this child a knife from his belt, making it a dream. That's what I would add, Lorccan.
Yeah.
If
I
you
get
can
it.
literally take yourself and make yourself better into the equation, and sometimes it's work.
Mhm.
I spot that, and when I see that, I grab onto it and I want to nurture that to help, forever. So, because that to me is what our future peers should be.
Excellently put.
I'm
I
down with
really,
that.
both of you, that was beautifully put. Really, really, really well done. Okay, I think now we are getting ready to go into the audience questions because I know we've gotten a couple that have gone through. What's that like? What's that face for?
I know my guys.
Oh, this is true, and I'm surprised they've been very quiet. I mean, at least Effin has. Here's a great one. As a knight, how do you continue your SCA career now? Goals that you might have coming up, goals that you might have for the future, things of that nature. And I apologize, I don't remember now who that was off the top of my head. John, I think that might have been your lady.
Big screen, so I'm assuming that's me.
Yeah.
And my loving wife Gita and I have an excellent way of putting it, and thank God for that movie. What is the Ryan? I mean Ryan. He's an NPC. The free guy.
Oh, okay.
We are the free guy.
Ryan Reynolds.
Ryan Reynolds. So we're the free guy. We're NPCs, but we still have dreams and aspirations. I want to make my wife a queen one day. But above all, like I said earlier, I want to actually just continue to spread. And if I can do that through my house and make many, many, many me's that are making the game better, then I will be here until you guys kick me out or slit my throat.
Annora, you seem to be muted.
Annora, you're muted now.
Fine. I was being polite and not blowing my nose on the fucking mic. God damn it.
Very
Okay,
thoughtful, really.
Fuck it, we're done. We're gonna go.
Okay.
Okay. Sorry, Lorccan, your turn.
That's okay. This is one of those things that's gone through some changes for me because after I got knighted, a little while after, I got engaged and I got married. And I actually met my wife at her very first SCA event. So that's a journey that we've gone on together. But between stuff happening in Glenavon and moving within Glenavon and then COVID, which is a whole roller coaster, and moving across the country during COVID and all that, the focus of the game, or whether there was a focus to the game for us, has kind of changed because, like, for me, winning crown is something that I've worked toward since before I was a squire. It was just that would be cool. That's a good long-term goal, and I like having a far away goal that's hard to achieve, because then you can fill in little goals on the way to that. So, I was thinking about that for years and years, and made it to the finals in Glenavon twice. Close enough to smell it, but didn't got there. But when we were getting ready to move from Glenavon, it's like we had to talk, and it's like, well, you can't fight in crown because we can't take the chance that you might potentially win. So we had to have a cutoff there. And oh man, that's completely sensible, and I hate it.
Sure.
But and then moving to Antir, and we're building our new family here, and we're getting to know the game and how it works and everything, and taking some time to just get back to like going to events. We got really used to staying in the house all the time during COVID, so it's different and it's weird. So for me, the two things that really keep me focused are helping fighters any way I can. Really, training armor. I made armor for a living for a while in Glenavon, and thank you. I will never do that again. I don't want money for armor anymore. That took some of
Oh,
the fun out of it. But I still have a bunch of tools. I still love to make the stuff, and I love helping people with it. I have an easier time making stuff if somebody comes over and I can work with them. I have a lot easier time actually getting things done than if it's just my personal project it's just another, like, my God, I have so many projects, too many.
right.
So like that really keeps you motivated, and it's the enthusiasm of new people, man. When somebody new, comes in and they want to learn and they're excited, that's a big thing for me. I love trying to help. I love figuring out if I can, because not everybody can learn from everybody. But I love working on that.
Yeah.
I can't count the number of times I've taught, here's how you throw a flat snap. Not because I'm the best at it necessarily or anything. It's just I'm really comfortable with doing that and working with people. And if it's not getting through, I'll go, "Hey, Sir Bob, can you help? I'm not getting through here." I'm comfortable with that.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
Well, since you did a little bit of armoring, do you do any other arts and sciences outside of armor?
yeah, let's see. My first arts award was for tablet weaving.
Oh,
That's something that I got good at faster than I got good at hitting things with a hammer. And I haven't done a lot of that recently, but it is something I enjoy. Um, I've gotten into making jewelry based on Viking Age examples because my persona is Viking Age Irish. Especially so with stamps. So I've made some coronets and bracelets and rings and stuff. I've taught some classes on the basics of making stamping tools and then using stamping. I use a lot of brass because it's a lot more affordable than gold or silver. My wife actually does fine jewelry stuff with silver, and she's really good at that. And we have overlapping but mostly separate skills because like she can solder and fuse and do things that I've never tried with fine metals and sets
right.
jewels and stuff, and I've never done. So that's kind of fun because we have a little bit of overlap there. And let's see, do some woodworking. I go way out of my way to avoid painting. Paint and I are natural enemies. I don't like that. But
I mean, the
I
nice
do
thing is you
enjoy
have a bunch of
woodworking.
other ones that you're able to do, whereas the painting,
Yeah.
there's plenty of painters and not a lot of the other things that you do.
But those are the main things that keep me busy. I do like leather work as necessary for repairs and to finish out stuff. I don't
Sure.
do it as a primary.
That's fair. That's fair.
Oh,
All right,
I was
Gellis.
told I couldn't say this, so I'm going to say it. Gellis, no art.
Don't let Gellis say Gellis don't do art. It's a lie. Okay.
And don't misquote me. It's Gellis, no art.
Hmm.
I'm a very simple guy. No.
Caveman speak. Got it.
Exactly. No, I love the arts. I'm an adamant believer in if the artisans weren't out there, we'd still have buckets on our heads and broom handles.
Right.
Mhm.
But
I've
with that,
seen
I
those
also-
pictures. It's hysterical.
Oh, I've
Mhm.
actually held like the bucket in my hand at SCA 50th year and went, y'all are stupid.
The Freon can.
The worst. Having the worst deja vu moment. I swear other people have said that too about that damn helmet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that and the accents there. I'm going, you ain't hit me with that. But no, as far as non-armor. Now, for the record, I will defend that. Armor, that's an art form. Hitting the damn helmet as you're making it and it actually comes out right. Hitting steel, that is an art form that I just knew. But
That's true.
what I am very big on is I am a crafter. So with that, I have not ever entered an ANS as far as my project. I've entered bardic tournaments. I've written my own songs and poems and such. I actually, one of my squires asked me, he's like, so if you ever went for a laurel, what would you go for? And I was like, singing. I love it. I'm learning the guitar now. At 50 years old, I am just at almost 50. I'm learning the guitar now. But the big thing is that when it comes to other things, you walk into my tent, there's tables, there's chairs, there's a bed that I've made. I teach others how to make the beds. I make them and give them away. You just show up and, want to learn. My thing is a lot of the things I make are very practical.
Sure.
Yeah.
But it's better than encampment, it sounds like.
SCA life.
Sure. Yeah.
Could we say Gellis no art, Gellis craft?
Yes.
There you go.
But the thing is, and what I usually do is I make something like the last project. My loving wife walked up to me and she just showed me a picture and said, "I want these," and it was chairs. And I looked at it and I went, "Okay, I can make that." The only thing is, you probably want a little bit deeper of a back so that way it lays back because it's a very straight back, and thrones are uncomfortable, as you know, Annora. That whole, people are not meant for this. They're great for photos, terrible for posture. But
oh God, yeah.
With that, I got over there and I went, all right, cool. So I went, all right, so here's the angle, and I can look at something, and using modern tools, I'll make it.
See, that is an art in and of itself. So don't get too down. No. That's not even crafting. That is art.
But the big thing is, my artist buddy, who's also my protege, is like literally he hates watching me do woodwork because I'll look at something and go, right about here. He's going, "Did you measure this?" And I'm going, "Not the same."
Yeah. Some people have to.
I probably have a lot more fine, expensive measurement tools than you do. Oh, Gellis and I are on the opposite end of the spectrum here. I'm and that's the measure thing. 12 times, cut once.
There's both.
Dude, as I'm routing out the bed, he is looking at me like I'm on acid because I'm going, all right, so set the depth to right about there.
Yeah.
All right, first we're going to throw this on the table saw. Zip, 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 zip. He's like, "What are you doing?" "I'm cutting grooves so that way my router doesn't get argumentative." And then and I just start cutting through it. He's going, "You really didn't measure a whole lot." I was like, "No, I flipped it over and drew the same lines on each side."
Well, and like they were talking about earlier, where it's, I think what Lorccan said, where it was, you are bettering encampments. You're making an encampment more pretty, which, and that again, is an art form. And it's something that other people can't do. I swear to God, that's not craft. That is an art. I sure as fuck can't do that.
My next project is something that somebody, they trash dove at a war. And they went, "Gellis, can you make this?" And they literally brought me this broken bench that is a breakdown bench that has a compartment in it. Not the other word. You heard wrong.
What the fuck?
But
is that a period
it's a breakdown
term?
bench that literally has a compartment inside of it that we were like, this will be perfect around the fire at war.
Yeah.
You left something. Throw it in the box.
Exactly. And those would be freaking cool. He doesn't have measurements. He has a thumb rule.
I haven't cut my thumb off yet. We don't talk about this one.
Considering my knights almost cut his finger off several times working on a saw, I'm not going to give shit about that.
I have no feeling in this finger. Works great for guitar, by the way.
Interesting. I would think it would be the other way. It would probably make you,
Nope.
Anyway,
it's the tip of the finger. So when I'm playing guitar, if I can feel the string on the middle finger, then it's in the wrong position, and I'm.
Oh my God, that works. Okay, this is our last question of the evening, and it honestly is one of my absolute favorites. How has the SCA prepared you for the zombie apocalypse? And Gellis, you were the last. This is going to be good.
Well, if you need a team player, a manager, or a guy to build sofas. No, I actually can organize.
I was going to say, no offense, you're going to be like the first one gone, man. You're the comic relief. You're halfway through the season.
Loud guys die. Well, yeah, they don't die first. They usually die about midway, and everybody goes,
exactly.
"Oh, we love Chuck."
Exactly. Now we know it's the downfall of the show.
Yeah, exactly. But no, from the zombie apocalypse, I already know I'm moving in with my Squire brother, Krusty. This guy can dislocate fingers and kneecaps and keep working.
Okay.
I'm going to move in with that dude. And that guy, zombies are afraid of him.
I was going to say, so he's the one who gets bit, cuts off his own arm, tourniquets it,
Oh,
and keeps
totally.
going.
Yeah, he's like,
okay.
And the worst part is he just looks at it and goes, meh, yeah, all right. Whack. And you're going, dude.
That's fair.
He used to, when he was fighting, he used to say, I'm old, I'm slow, and I hit like a 12-year-old girl with polio.
Much of that was false.
I corrected him because he is older in age. He's older, he's slower, and he hits you with a 12-year-old girl with polio. So I'm moving in with that dude. That's all.
You've been fattening up Gellis. Okay.
He's right.
There you go. Well, let's see. I think it's sharpened my hitting things in the head skills, so that would be useful for the apocalypse.
Very true.
Definitely caused me to build up the woodworking and metalworking tools that would be useful if society collapsed. Although I have a lot of modern tools that would be nearly as useful without electricity. But
Oh, right.
Still useful. I can sew. Fabric and I don't get along very well. I have been clothed by the kindness and sometimes paid work of strangers and loved ones. But I don't. So, but like technically I can help. So it wouldn't be much good there. I think mostly the woodworking skills and the occasional metalworking and the hitting things with a stick would be the most useful things I could contribute. Since I'm diabetic, once the insulin runs out, I'm done. So I'm going to try to make it better for everybody else until then.
Don't worry, Lorccan. I will go into pelican mode. We will inject you with tree sap and other things to figure out how to keep you alive.
Isn't insulin like something from a horse or from like...
These days it's mostly manufactured in laboratories, but the original insulin that was used for humans was from pigs.
See, we could totally do this.
In theory.
Yeah, we have enough doctors and nurses in the SCA that somebody is going to research it. They'll figure it out. It's going to be like an Outlander thing all over again.
There you go.
See. Well, thank you guys so very much for coming on tonight. It was absolutely awesome to be able to sit and talk with you. I look so forward to being able to do this much more, especially Lorccan, you're up north of me, so you're actually the closest so far. And Gellis, definitely going to hit you meet you at a Gulf Wars at some point, hopefully.
You should hit him too.
Oh, absolutely. I fully hope and expect that every time we have somebody on here, I'm like, I hope to get a set with you. Please let me be on your dance card at the very top. It'll be so much fun.
Passes and a lot of beer.
You know what? I'm the worst lightweight, so I'll probably get a buzz off of you or the surrounding people.
I can still.
Oh yeah, I can still totally. Okay, this is like the second or third time I've seen Poodle scoot, and my stupid over imagination is just going.
Dog dragging their ass on the ground.
Yes.
Yeah, it's that rap really stung.
So I'm brand new authorized, and Camric, back in the day, Axmore did not rap new guys. So I'm newly authorized. I'm out of my first practice, and I set up and literally stick my ass out there behind a kite shield going, he ain't going to hit this though, Vince. This is great. This is awesome. I'm like all stooped over and looking like an idiot. At which point, all I hear is, huh. And I'm faced off against Cam. Now, what I didn't realize was that literally all of the other guys, all the other stick jocks are on the side going,
we know what's happening. We know what's what is that? What does that mean? The collective asses of the world tightened?
Oh, God. So this rap comes across, thunderclap, smash. It hits hard. It hits on the left cheek. And left cheek. Leaves a dimple bruise about yay big.
Oh, my God.
But it pivots perfectly. It's like this ultimate just from that cheek over to the right cheek. And this thing has a white stripe 2 inches wide. The bruise is that large. with 2 black spots. It looks like that old lady witch mole from you hear from the movies. I get over there and all the guys hear is, not good, not good, good rap. No, I drop
Where's the
down.
sound of a good shot?
Yeah, so I drop down and I'm going to fight from my knees. And Cam wraps me, steps back, and you just hear the giggling. At which point I'm going, all right, you bastard. All right, I'm going to drop down. I'm going to fight from my knees, right? First thing I always do is drop down and kind of sit your cheeks right between your feet. Because back then I was flexible. The back of my foot makes contact with my ass cheek.
Yeah.
And it's like, all right, let's do this. You ready? Oh, yeah. Let's do it. Let's go.
Oh, my
And
God.
he, quick snipe, bam, I get over there, I go to the sidelines, and all the guys are just cackling. Big John, who was my squire brother at one point, is like literally pointing, Gellis, that's called the poodle scoot. Drop your ass in the dirt, rub it back and forth, put the blood back where it belongs. So, yeah.
I'm using that from now on.
I made it my mission to learn that shot, and I give Cam credit every time. I get over there and go, hey, was that a good shot? They're like, fuck you. And I'm going, talk to that man.
I want to learn that shot so badly. It has so many different names, but I love the poodle scoot shot, and I hope to emulate that one day. Oh my God, that's fucking hysterical.
And the worst thing you can do is try to step around it because it's just wider.
It's coming in no matter what. Just take it like a man. Just accept your life.
Get out.
Oh my God.
I once had a gentleman who's now a fellow knight of Glenavon, a good fighter, but it was one of those things where he stepped into exactly the wrong position. And that shot just happened. I didn't think, I just went boom, and I lifted him slightly with it, and I felt really bad about that. It was also hilarious, but I felt really bad about it.
It's one of those times where you're like, what did you learn? And what did you learn? Oh my God. Well, thank you guys again so much for that. And thanks so much for the audience for hanging out with us and, listening and watching. And I cannot wait to get to know you guys more. Definitely do want to mention we have a couple of shows coming up that are definitely worth to watch. Tomorrow we have 3 Former Fat Guys with, of course, our favorite former fat guys. Still the best goddamn title. On the 1st of November, which I believe is a Tuesday, we have excuse me, I'm trying to remember their names. Thorol and Vigdis out of, I don't remember their kingdom, I apologize. We're going to be introducing them. I'm really excited for that one too. I believe they are 2 squires. Artemisia. We've been told Artemisia. So again, amazing. I'm still thinking about the poodle scoot. I'm just like, I want to learn that now. So bad. We're gonna have to talk about that. We're gonna have to have like a Google thing.
And Cam literally that day taught me the mechanics. He's like, pow, step, roll, keep it tight, boom. And I went, that makes so much sense. And I learned how to throw it so I could block that sumbitch.
Exactly. Oh my God. Jesus. Yeah, we're gonna have to do like a Zoom practice or something like that of just get it right. Anyway, so we could talk about fighting all night. I already know it. So again, thank you guys so much. Thank you much to the audience. Again, I'm Annora, and thank you from the Ask the Knights crew, from John and Effin, who are behind the scenes. And we look forward to seeing you guys all next time to hang out. Have a great night, everybody.
Thanks for having us.